Did you believe Harlem had seen everything? Rethink your thought. What occurs when decades of resentment, pink fur jackets, and the web part of the showdown is when memes clash. Part soap opera, part rap drama, and 100% anarchy. Think of your favorite legends, switching each other off like reality TV steroids. Clowns and friends yesterday today with the entire city observing each joke. Jim Jones, the individual who formerly said that Harlem was resting on his shoulders, is currently the target of jokes, scorched by the very brothers to whom he pledged allegiance. Mase and Camron are not holding back. They're shooting, posting memes, and pulling Jim through the streets of Harlem more difficult than a poor poem at Apollo. However, this is the question that permeates all fans' thoughts. Is Jim Jones truly resentful? Or is he the hero we've misunderstood? Been sleeping on? Furthermore, why does every clip, each interview, and each relic freestyle seems like proof in a flash? A case that no one can resolve. Remain with me. According to what we're about to discover is more than a feud. It's a Harlem spectacle. Furthermore, you've never witnessed this degree of drama occur in the internet previously. Who wins and who receives the most laughter? Forever. Let's explore the mayhem. Harlem is a hive once more. Furthermore, it isn't simply the standard conversation about new bars or this person has the freshest pink fur. Season this. Level of chaos is such that has the atmosphere of reality TV combined with a documentary about the streets. Additionally, at the same moment that Jim Jones and Cam'ron Mase are in the middle, the individual who claimed to have held Harlem on his shoulders, Jim Jones narrates his own story as the protector, the hustler, the backbone, the person who held others up as he established his kingdom, a man who learned to traverse the streets at a young age and gave Camron food and shelter, and Mase at their difficult times. He portrays himself as the unsung hero, the devoted soldier who never requested credit but made sure that no one fell away. However, Mase and Camron have completely different script. They insist on it was never Jim Jones who saved the day. He was the enthusiast, the evangelist, the man who heard and pleaded to join the crew. Their freestyles frantically trying to showcase the best talent in Harlem. They even assert that Jim learned how to rap, which, if accurate, completely story of being the creator of on its head, Dipset. Pride in Harlem is anything, as well as when your foundation depends on another individual. Street credibility suffers greatly. The pandemonium is only made worse by the media. Each and every interview in which Jim Jones enthusiastically defends his job is memed, truncated, and disseminated on many platforms, and suddenly, he is the focus of humor instead of acknowledgement. Mase and Camron don't even have to face him head-on. One sarcastic comment, a joke, or a cunning podcast remark is sufficient to send Harlem is overrun with memes. Supporters chuckle, discuss, and argue incessantly, and Jim in an attempt to prove his point. Jones discovers himself as the content star he never designed to produce. The conflict isn't only regarding previous grievances. It has to do with legacy, ego, and the intricate power relationships of a metropolis that never forgets or pardons. Jim Jones asserts that although Camron was radiant, clutching the fort, figuratively taking the bullets and actually ensuring that the focus didn't fall apart. In the meanwhile, Camron and every story is turned into comedic gold by Mase, reminding the internet in Harlem that Jim Jones arrived later. And he pleaded with join the circle, and that his function was never as magnificent as he says. The tension rises as a result of this, not merely about who took the initiative. It's regarding respect and acknowledgement in AA culture that prioritizes genuineness over everything else. Harlem turns into a character in this story, evaluating each and every word, every assertion, and every overstated narrative. Jim Jones's Bronx beginnings are raised as though casting doubt on his right to tell the history of Harlem. Additionally, in Where Your Block Serves as Your Crown, having to constantly declare one's place is a significant weakness. Each time Jim the City listens to Jones's speech, chuckles, his arguments, and his trustworthiness is in doubt. On the line, he seeks pity as the underdog, the forgotten person who made more sacrifices than anyone knew. However, Mase and Camron transform his suffering into amusement. Additionally, in the current digital era, entertainment frequently surpasses genuineness. It's a cruel irony. Jim Jones enhances the drama, the material, and the moments that go viral. However, he gets little acknowledgement of his efforts. Every tirade, every memory of adversity, each pledge of allegiance turns into fuel for discussion and comedy, and it's what Harlem is all about. This conflict isn't fresh, but it's changing. From the streets ranging from interviews to social media memes. Each and every claim made by Jim Jones is analyzed and reinterpreted by his brothers, so to speak. Additionally, the audience is savoring every moment. What the clash is about more than self-esteem. It concerns preserving a position in the history of Harlem regarding claiming a legacy that is greater than any one individual. Jim Jones maintains that he has been present since the beginning. The hustler, the guardian. The ensuring that the rising talents didn't fall. Mase and Camron maintain that he was the latecomer, mirror, and man in need to be successful. Harlem observes discussions, memes, and laughter. Due to this is more than simply drama. History is being live performance. An endless show, it demonstrates that the streets never forget. The city is unforgiving. Additionally, the legends are always competing. The Harlem, there are rumors in the streets. Conjecture and outright mayhem as the conflict between Jim and Cam'ron Mase Jones gets more intense, as well as the boundaries between exaggeration, fiction, and actuality are all hazy. Entirely with each clip. Post an interview, Jim Jones is still adamant about that he served as the Dips mainstay at Empire, asserted that although Camron was busy collecting and gleaming in pink furs headlines, he was in possession of putting everything together, creating strategic relocates and conducts business in ways that one observed while silently offering sacrifices. His own acknowledgement for the benefit of the group. Those who purportedly spoke on condition, its obscurity implies that Jones previously spent tens of thousands to maintain keeping the crew viable, paying the studio and rent expenses, as well as meals when Mase and Camron were having trouble. Despite the fact that some dispute these tales are inflated to provide a dramatic impression and content for social media, as stated by allegedly leaked records from an old files belonging to the management. There were several examples of extravagant party expenditures, promotional materials, travel, and purportedly led by Jones as he asserted his position as the devoted guardian. In the meanwhile, Harlem supporters have been analyzing every viewpoint and sharing a response, making memes and videos that pit each contrasting one story with another, giggling at Jones's demand for his indispensable, but still covertly wondering whether he did more than people give him credit for it. One fictitious insider cited online Jones was always in the forum. The forum stated, background, but he was aware of all the angles. Every action he could have appeared as despite being the hype guy. He played chess while checkers was played by everyone else. Yet even that assertion is viewed with suspicion, spoken with a hint of irony and digital eye rolls. The response of the general population is a combination of shock, laughter, and unending conjecture as each side asserts dominance over the history of Harlem, turning personal complaints into a viral spectacle. There are stories about studio takeovers, secret gatherings, strategy meetings in which Jones allegedly argued and moved to defend Camron's picture, which are all magnified and analyzed online communities with distinct goals. Admirers discuss incessantly whether Camron and his Mase humor, cruel or brilliant, whether is Jim Jones' annoyance warranted or simply desperate, and if the whole feud is a masterfully written story, or simply street drama that is getting out of control command. The proliferation of social media platforms with snippets of Jim Jones's fervent protecting his position. And only a few seconds later, fresh videos featuring Camron's surface, and Mase's lighthearted response derision that transforms each moment into comedy gold. However, beneath the laughter and memes, stress and uneasiness are present, because each and every exaggeration, assertion, and each assertion bears the weight of street, legacy, and reputation legitimacy. Apparently, several of the local influencers have contacted us to provide their opinions, pointing out that the conflict keeps everybody discussing the city's music and its past. In essence, making Jim Jones turned his displeasure into a marketing tool for the competitors who make fun of him. Rumors of unreported investments, covert gatherings, and unconfirmed reports of power struggles whirling around in the digital ether, providing each observer and admirer with the feeling as though they are seeing something enormous. A direct and unvarnished look into the consequences of street allegiance clashes with the internet, ego, and celebrity culture. The tension nearly reaches a cinematic quality that makes you laugh every time there is silence at Jim Jones' expense. Inquiries concerning heritage, truth, and genuineness, which prevents disregard. The drama that permeates Harlem is exhilarating, like a live wire. Social media feeds and streets concurrently, and making certain that everyone in the audience feels as though they are a portion of a much larger story than themselves, where pride, loyalty, and acknowledgement is just as valuable as any crown. Where does the distinction between hero and the public measures clown's perception? The cameras flicker, and the never-ending craze for memes and viral remarks. Memes and viral buzz remarks. The conflict between Cam'ron Mase. Jim Jones has also developed a fever. Pitch alongside Harlem, observing, giggling, and discussing who actually merits the title of the city's greatest legend. Jim Jones declines as well, to remain mute while repeatedly asserting that he served as the guardian, both the unsung hero and the tactician, although Camron reveled in the attention. And Mase established the framework that allegedly imparted to Jones all that he is aware of rapping. Supporters still analyze each interview, clip, and word, transforming social media into a combat zone where each claim is contested, inflated, or misrepresented, and the heartbeat of the city beats in real time as the saga develops, demonstrating once more that Harlem thrives on rivalry, drama, and heritage. There are still rumors circulating concerning disputes that take place behind the scenes, claimed treachery, as well as tales of extravagant expenses that Jones allegedly paid for the crew. Harlem, however, chuckles as Mase and Camron transform each assertion into jokes, which further fueled the public's preoccupation with each and every detail. A fresh discovery becomes the subject of ongoing debate and comments that become viral. According to some insiders, there were confidential gatherings where tension boiling over. As tensions increased, Jones attempted to establish control while Camron and Mase secretly mapped out how to transform his emotional explosions into material that they could manage. And internet admirers make assumptions, wildly regarding who is in actual power, who merits recognition, and whether the full feud is merely an elaborate show. For social media and the camera's followers, there are tales of monetary contributions, studio management, carefully calculated actions, all purportedly Jones's plan to safeguard the Dipset brand. However, the public, his response portrays him as resentful, frantic, and hilariously under pressure. Although Mase and Camron gain from his own efforts to establish power, demonstrating how perception is frequently more charisma and strength greater than reality when combined with humor. It can break down even the most sincere assertions. The story has assumed an own existence. With each, the interview and video were spread throughout platforms, giving the conflict a sense of scale more than life. And each chuckle at Jones' cost comes with a silent cost: recognition that he was a member of the history, if Harlem desires to be crowned him or not. Tension rises as discussions keep talking about loyalty, authenticity, and heritage. Additionally, each and every assertion from Jones receives criticism, mockery, or incredulity, establishing a vicious circle where drama attracts attention, which in turn attracts more drama, while Mase and Camron keep the advantage by rotating, turning poignant experiences into hilarious treasures. Supporters conjecture about potential legal conflicts, made-up encounters, and even made-up situations in which Harlem's institutions may consider who actually merits praise. Additionally, even though these are primarily the result of imagination, With online hyperbole, they contribute to the tension, the excitement, and the feeling that this conflict is not only amusement, but a cultural gathering with stakes greater than those of a typical rap beef. Reactions on social media are obstinate, with fans picking sides, making memes, sharing footage of reactions, and analyzing interviews to find any clue of contradiction or truth. Additionally, this continuous feedback loop guarantees Jim Jones's legitimacy is called into question at each and every turn. As Mase and Camron sit, return, and let the city chuckle, respond, and bolster the story for them. However, below memes and jokes surface, there is a peculiar appreciation for Jones's perseverance, for not staying mute, as well as his refusal to herd, despite the fact that it means becoming the butt of innumerable jokes. This results in a paradox in which Jones is concurrently ridiculed and acknowledged, turned away and recalled. And this is what Harlem thrives on: dualism, since it preserves the past, the drama and culture alive, demonstrating once more how the city never forgets. It is intolerant, and it favors wit and style over genuineness or selflessness. All public engagement, each viral video, and each the feud is maintained by the snarky retort. And amid all of that, Harlem itself turns into the final arbiter, jury, and viewers, figuring out who is renowned, humorous, and who will be recalled as a clown or a hero. And the city observes everything with unrelenting interest, understanding that whatever occurs, the tale is far from over. From above, there are actual stakes, and the Jim Jones and Cam'ron Mase's legacy will keep taking center stage in discussions, social media feeds, and memes for years to arrive, leaving admirers to speculate who will wear the crown at the end, and who will remain imprisoned in the shadows of history of Harlem. Here's the query now, burning in both my and your minds. Who actually manages Harlem? Is Camron with his smooth bars and never-ending jokes? Mase with his easy assurance and a strategic mind? Or Jim Jones, the individual who says he managed to keep it together, as everyone chuckled and made fun of him, into forgetfulness? You've watched the videos, stories, the interviews, and the disorder. However, in reality, no one really is aware. And for that reason, we require you to weigh in. Give your thoughts on the remarks. Add your pals. Launch the discussion, as Harlem depends on discussion, competition, and viewpoints surpassing the newest freestyle in speed. Click like if you've ever had a fight so ugly that it blew your head, so exciting and dramatic that you're unable to turn away. To learn more, subscribe. Exposes additional breakdowns and the facts that no one else is willing to reveal. Since we are removing the layers here, point out the inconsistencies and make the plot is as delicious as it should be. Tell us then who the hero is, who the clown, and who will be the next Harlem Crown recipient. Don't keep quiet. The city is observing your voice and the growing number of memes issues in the never-ending story. Click, share, leave a remark, and start a dispute. Continue to live. Let the feud continue, and share.